Yo, what's up, Maschine Masters? This is your boy D-Ski the Ill Eagle, and I'm here with Boonie Mayfield, a.k.a. Boondock.
What's going on?
What's good with you, man?
Chilling, brother. How you doing?
Oh, man, great, man. Finally got out here to holler at you and chop it up, man.
Yes, indeed, man.
So, I'm going to dive right in, man. How long you been out here in Cali?
Now, just about 10 months, a little over 10 months, so
That's
almost a year.
How you liking it out there?
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a real cool vibe, man.
Up.
The weather,
can't beat that.
I'm not missing the snow. I'll tell you that much. I'm from
that.
Colorado, but I love home, but I ain't missing the snow right now.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. Being from Colorado, what's the difference between the music scene there and here?
The actual music scene?
Yeah.
I think it's just really at first the similarity is probably the fact that it's so diverse out there.
Okay.
Like in both places you can find everything out there, but the difference is just it's still a market that hasn't really been tapped into yet, that people have really gotten to see, you know, besides some of the, you know, well-known cast that's come from Colorado, like the Fray, or, you know, the Lumineers, or India.Re, you know, and people like that. But there's so much out there, it's just still untapped and everything. So I think the difference is it's still like unknown. People don't really fully know, like, of all the hot shit that's out there. Like,
right.
You know.
Yeah. Did knowing that the atmosphere out here as far as music help you make the decision to want to move here? Or was
it definitely did, because it's just, you know, more opportunities and everything. It's just there's really not much of industry opportunities from, I mean, music, especially film, all those things that are really, you know, going on out there as of right now. So it's just like I've been wanting to move out here since I graduated high school, so it took me quite some time to finally make it out this way.
Let's go back down memory lane for a second, man.
Okay.
What's the first piece of pro audio equipment that you can remember having?
Equipment or software? Because I started software.
Oh, you started software?
I started.
That's
software.
what's up.
I started on Reason 2.0.
Oh wow!
In 2003.
Okay, I think I started on 2.5 in like a year or two later.
Right. Yeah. So I started on Reason. I started straight software for about 3-4 years until I actually tried it in PC. I was scared to.
Wow. To go to hardware, you scared?
Yeah, I was scared. I was scared to actually play. I drew everything.
Okay,
for my first 3 years of making beats, I clicked and drew everything, every melody, every sample chop.
Whoa.
It was tedious, boy. I didn't even know what quantize was.
Wow.
That's why it's just like when I got an MPC finally, I messed with it.
Yeah.
I was like, quantize. Oh, it snaps it to the. Why did I know this the whole time? Like, I thought I had to have my full timing right, and I was too afraid.
Right, yeah, that's crazy, man. So when you finally got into the MPC, was it a steep learning curve for you, or was it easy?
It was very easy, and I owe that to I think it's still running now. Soundsforsamplers.com.
What I wanted to know also about your equipment experience is, now we don't, you know, around here, me and you are the same on this. I don't get into all that, what's better as far as software, hardware, because I'm a very strong advocate of both of them. You know what I mean? And then like I think you mentioned in one of the videos, the biggest thing you could do is to have the knowledge of how to make music, and that'll translate into anything you use. But what piece of gear or software throughout the years did you become more fine with, you know, that you just got stuck on, like, I gotta have this, I gotta use this one?
Logic.
Like, okay.
Yeah. Once I got to Logic, then it was like done for.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, it was everything that I needed. Like, okay, I can sequence the exact same way I'm doing my MPC. I just use the MPD with it and stuff like that. And just the sounds. Once I was able to use sample sounds, not just, you know, the VST, like Native Instruments actually sampled the, like, you know, it was just so authentic sounding. The vintage organs, the Alicia's keys, all those things. It was just like, I'm not I sold my motif rack. I sold that. I kept my MPC 1000 and everything, but I just wasn't using it anymore. So it's just like Logic. Once that's been it.
I remember in one of your videos you spoke on how throughout the years you had developed the habit of creating beats that were basically your version of other people's style.
Yeah.
And you got away from that. What helped you get away from that, first of all?
Stop listening to it. That's
Good
what
one.
I had to do.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, I grew up on that music.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's embedded in me all through my childhood and everything. And so while I was learning that, I was constantly listening to it. But when it finally had to break away from it, I had to completely just not listen to it.
Turn it off.
And then listen to other genres and everything. And once I listened to other genres, it just, for like over a year, 2 years, I really wasn't listening to hip hop.
Gotcha.
You know, and then that way, once I started working on my project, it was kind of like I have my own tempo. I have my own flow of things. I wasn't matching the tempo of what was already out and stuff. I was going by whatever my heartbeat was telling me.
Gotcha.
You know, which kind of ended up being a little slower than a lot of stuff out, and I didn't realize it till later. Like, man, my stuff is a lot slower. But since I'm a big Pink Floyd fan.
Yeah, I was getting to that.
You know,
too,
their
yeah.
stuff is a lot slower. You know, than a lot of the rock music at that time too. So you know, it just goes hand in hand.
I was just getting to that too, man. Because I'm a huge prog rock head, man. And what I was gonna say is, did you find basically when you stepped away from that, listening to other producers within the genre, and started listening to more stuff outside of your genre, that it kind of changed your perspective of how you placed your sounds, how you played things, and you know how you molded your stuff as opposed to before?
Yeah, I think it just enhanced it more. It just kind of changed some things up because, you know, when when you listen to, I mean, I think it's part of beat culture. You know, when you're making beats, you try to come up with the flyest bass line. You try to come up with the flyest sample chop. You try to come up with the flyest drum, you know, loop and all that stuff. And sometimes you're so focused on that it's just like, yeah, it's perfect for dope beats. But when it comes down to getting a rapper on it, you know, or a singer on it, then it's just like, sometimes you hear those songs from back in the day that you would sample from, and you're like, when you really pay attention to it, the bass line is so simple.
Yeah.
The chord progression at that part is so simple. The drum rhythm is so simple. So it made me step away from just trying to make the craziest, hottest beats to trying to create the best soundscape for a mood or, you know, a song that I was trying to do.
That's what's up, man. When you made your album, Solomon Vaughn presents Boonie Mayfield. That's
Boonie Mayfield presents.
Or Boonie, okay.
Yeah. Same.
When you made that, how was the reception, first of all?
It was not what I expected.
Okay.
I thought that people would just get it more, and I think because I had been so just out of not listening to what's out really and just in my own world, you know, it was just kind of like, man, people gonna flip their wigs when they hear this. And I just, you know, some people did, you know, but then there was a lot of people that was just like, yeah, man, this is, you know, way different from where you're going. Some of this ain't even really hip hop. I'm like, yeah, I modeled that album. I think the biggest inspiration for the direction of that album was The Love Below.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
For Andre 3000,
of course.
So that's literally where I was trying to go with it.
And it's crazy, man. The sound that you went for on that album was hella eclectic. Then years later, here come Kendrick doing it. And he got a similar response because people were like, nah, this ain't his last album. What's Kendrick doing? But then shortly after time, Bill, people were like, okay, I'm starting to see the vision.
You know, they had to grow on.
Had to grow on him, right?
Yeah, had to grow on him.
And when I first heard your joint, I'm like, whoa, like I'm already with you. I'm like, yeah, this is outside the box. I like it. But the reason why I asked you about that is because I noticed that there is this thing where people, if they get a package of something and it's different from what they're used to, the first inkling is just, okay, nah, I'm not feeling it.
Exactly.
I'm not vibing with it because it's not what I'm used to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? When I listen to it over and over again, I'm like, yo, this dude was ahead of his time with that, just like Kendrick did. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it has to grow on people.
Exactly.
And so are you taking a similar approach in your new project that you're working on now?
A new project? I guess so. With this project, I'm not, with this EP that I'm doing, I really don't have no expectations or approach with it because I wasn't trying to work on a project.
Gotcha.
It just naturally came together. Like it pretty much is like a few songs that I did since I moved out here. So in the
Gotcha.
last 10 months. But it was like the first song that I wrote when I was out here was in April.
Okay.
And I recorded that, and that was called New Breed.
Okay.
And I put that out back pretty much in April. I didn't write another song until I did So Much More, and that was until September.
Okay.
So it was just like once So Much More was done, so much more started coming out of me, and I finished writing a few more songs and coming up with those.
Right.
So it was just like I didn't have a plan of making a project. I really wasn't planning on it, but just once I really looked at everything and the sound of everything, I was like, you know what? All the songs that I did from out here really fit a vibe, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I did some songs before I moved out here after my albums and stuff, and I was gonna try to make another mixtape or whatever with all those, but I just felt like I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave those as singles as they are. Like, this is starting fresh.
Kind of went organically then.
Yeah, it's just like, you know what, this is another kind of phase, so let me go with this, you know. And so I really don't have any, I didn't have any expectations, and I don't this time, because it actually protects me from being hurt.
Okay.
Again, if I put it out and the response isn't, you know, anything, you know, like what I expected with Boonie Mayfield Presents, I was heartbroken.
Okay.
You know, with the lack of support for it.
Gotcha.
And then the projects after that, still nothing really kind of materializing from it. So it's just like, I dealt with a lot of depression from that.
Okay.
You know, so it was just like, with these songs, I just did them for me. I always do my music for me. And I released my music for me, but this time it was just like, yo, whether people download it, buy it, don't like it, I don't care. This is just for me. Whatever.
Yeah,
whatever.
That's the best way to do it, man. That's therapeutic. You know?
It is.
Sort of cathartic. Now, as far as the Boonie Mayfield Presents Solomon Vaughn joint, got to write that time right.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Since that one, what did you learn from, you know, basically the reception that you got from it? Was it more or less the attitude you just spoke of, that you don't give a, you know, I don't give a damn what people think, I'm gonna do this for
that
me.
Definitely that, and just, well, basically, if you're gonna be doing something that is so different and not the norm of what's out today, or, you know, if it's ahead of its time or whatever, then you well expect expect that it will take some time for it to sink in. It could take years.
Yeah, it really could.
It could take years for it to sink in, especially if you don't have the platform of, you know, the labels and the blogs and the magazines and cosigns and reviewing it, and people who actually understand it, explaining it to the people so they can be like, oh, I get it too. So it's just like, you can be ahead of your time and but if you're at that platform, people can catch up quicker. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have that platform, it could take you some years. So that's what I learned. It's just like,
hey man, just get them Sealy Posturepedics ready, man. If they sleep on it, they sleep on it. That's they lost, man.
You know,
that's they lost.
Exactly.
I'm still banging the first joint, man. I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's like my baby.
Yeah,
like just like you know how Jay-Z's baby is. Sorry. I'm like Reasonable Doubt. I was about to say Blueprint. I'm like, no, sorry. You know, Reasonable Doubt is no matter what,
no
his
matter what.
baby. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That was his lifetime in the making. That's what Boonie Mayfield Presents is for me.
Such a Maschine Masters LP, basically.
So the fact that, you know, you that means a lot. It definitely means a lot.
Definitely, man. If you had one dream musically, one dream that you could accomplish, hands down, what would it be?
One dream musically.
Yeah.
It like any kind. Okay, are we talking like dream that something I'm working towards, or something that so out of the norm that can maybe not even happen?
Something that could happen in the, like, now I'm not talking about like, oh, Dylan walks back out.
Nothing
like crazy like that. You know
okay,
what I mean? Like something that really literally could happen. You know what I mean? That you never would expect.
Two things.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Two. If Outkast were to reunite on a project, and I collaborate with them and Tribe Called Quest. If they were to come back, if they were to do that last album that they still owe to Jive, and I could be a part of that,
That's heavy, bro.
Those are like some ultimate dreams. Like, man, if that happens,
that's heavy.
And yeah, I don't know. I have several other random ones. I think the other random one, I think we discussed it, is basically working with Quentin Tarantino, like on a project, like because I'm heavy into film too. Yeah, so heavy. It's just like we did some kind of like action, crazy musical type of weird shit, and I could collaborate with RZA and them on something.
That'd be crazy.
Those are some of my dreams. I have a lot. I have a whole lot.
Go ahead, spit a few of them out,
but
man.
Those are some.
I'm interested now, man. Go ahead, spit a few of them out.
What's some other ones?
Yeah, go ahead.
Musically, let's see. There was a remake of The Last Dragon. Being able to do a project for something like that. That's why I call myself Leroy Green of the B-Boy scene. That's one of my little aliases I have. But yeah, man, that's some of the stuff. If I could collaborate with, well, I don't know if Pink Floyd.
I was gonna say, man.
The thing is, I don't know if Roger Waters would even like me. I'd be afraid to work. I'd be so intimidated with rocking it. Like, hey, Roger.
Like,
but I feel like David Gilmour would be like,
he's more open.
So I don't know if I could work with Roger Waters and he would want to. Great, but if not, David Gilmour, if I could have him do a guitar solo on any of my songs over,
that'd be nuts.
Yeah, those are some. That's some.
I ran that question on because my next question was gonna be artists or producers you would like to work with. So
producers. Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot of producers from Dr. Dre, of course, Andre 3000, of course, Q-Tip, of course, Timbaland, Pharrell. Mark Ronson.
That's what's up.
I'd like to work with them, and then on unorthodox way, Danny Elfman.
Cool, yeah.
That's another one of my big dreams.
Soundscape that he creates, amazing,
Elfman,
bro. Amazing.
Danny Elfman. Yeah.
What about artists like hip hop or non-hip hop?
Hip hop, definitely Kendrick.
Yeah, definitely.
I definitely love that. I love what he's doing. The whole TDE camp is really dope. I think J. Cole's really dope in C too. Of course, Jay-Z. And of course all the people that I grew up on that I love that I've already mentioned. Outkast,
Eminem,
Busta Rhymes, Eminem. Eminem is like he's one of my favorite MCs of all time. That's kind of how I modeled a lot of my rapping style from growing up. So Eminem.
Yeah, he's definitely at the top tier.
Work on a track, stuff with Eminem. So that hip hop. Outside of that, I mean, there's definitely a lot from Erykah, Badu, D'Angelo, Janelle Monáe. I think she's really dope. I definitely like to collaborate with them. It's just like, when you get put on a spot, I know I'm gonna miss one. I'm like, why didn't I say this one? I'm trying. I know there's plenty more, but those are definitely.
That's what's up. Now share with us, man. You shared this with me. We was chopping it up. Share with us how the Boonie Mayfield kits, all the volumes came to pass, man.
Okay, so the first was the boom bap loops, the drum loops. How that came together was just really one of my friends that I work with out here, Gerard, aka Facade. He is a fellow MC that can produce as well, but he doesn't want to just fully go into producing like I did, like taking a break from rapping for years and stuff. So you know what I mean? Like we're talking about working on some stuff, but it's just I haven't been in producer mode really. I just haven't been making beats or anything. So it was just like, man, I know the style of beats he wanted from me is Boonie Mayfield from like Black Kool-Aid era, like 2010, 2011, and I'm just not there. So it was just like we were talking. He's like, man, do you think maybe you can send me some old stems of unfinished stuff? And I was just like, you know what, I'll go ahead and check and everything. So I just went, I thought about it, I was like, you know what? If I just supply you the drum loops from a lot of my beats, you can chop samples up and do whatever. It'll be like collaborating with Boonie Mayfield from 2010. So I just was like I went to my computer and set it to where I could look from the very first file session I started on in Logic in 2010 up to today. And I just went through every folder, every file, unfinished and finished. And I was just finding stuff I don't even remember doing.
Wow.
And it's just like most of them, since I would normally start with drums first, I at least already had drum loops. So I just started bouncing out like 2-bar loops, 4-bar loops of drums.
Wow.
And just all of a sudden, it's just like I already had over 100 loops, and I wasn't even done with 2010 or 2011. I'm like, wait a minute, man, I got a lot of stuff. And so by the time I compiled it all, I was like, man, I think I can put this out as a kit. And so when I showed them, Gerard and Saeed and them, all the kits and stuff from when I played the live drums and the drum programming, they're just like, yo, you about to sell this whole thing? Like, for how much? I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe this and this. And they're just like, nah, dude, you can make this into like 3 volumes. I'm like, well, I don't know. So once I hit up AG, with Maschine Masters, and because we had talked about it a year before about doing a kind of kit or something. But once I sent that to him, I was like, hey, what do you think of this? And he was just like, dude, this is what I'm talking about. Crazy, man. And so I was just like, all right, well, let's go ahead and release it on your thing, man. I don't want to do this by myself no more. I don't want to just put this on my website and I don't like the customer service stuff, all that. I'm not into all that
into
stuff.
The art
it's
part
just like,
of it. Yeah.
I'm tired of doing everything by myself. So that's when I sent that to him, and then we broke it down to the 3 volumes. But then, while we still just had only released volume 1, then Gerard hits me up again. He's like, yo, man, do you have any stems, not drums, but like instruments, like, your chord progressions, any kind of unfinished whatever? I'm like, you know what? I went right back again through all the same files, and this time I'm not focusing on the drums. I'm finding stuff that's just like, oh, let me just mute the drums out.
Wow. Shout out to Gerard, man.
Gerard.
Yeah, shout out to Gerard.
Gerard Anderson, a.k.a. Facade. Yo,
shout out to you, bro.
Yo, straight up. So, I was just like, man, because he was like, yeah, man, I'm just going to take loops from you and try to sample you or something. I'm like, yo, let me do that. So, I thought of it, since a lot of this stuff, like, I played MIDI.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I know what it's like to sample. You want stuff slowed down so you can have more space. Yep. I'm just sitting here slowing down stuff, giving it more space, bouncing out 2 loops. So it's just like all of it. I was done, and now I'm like, man, I can make another kit. I hit up AG. I was like, AG, check your inbox. He's like, Boonie Tunes. What's it? What? I'm like, yeah, man, Gerard again. Like, dude, it's just a whole load of stuff. So it's just like, all the kits is really 5 years of work that I wasn't getting paid for or even finished. It was stuff that I was doing to practice to get better, not sampling.
You were just sitting on it.
I was just, and it was just sitting there.
Wow, that's
just
crazy,
sitting
man. Yeah, shout out to Gerard for that, man.
Yes. Indeed.
And then I bet a lot of people, didn't know that prior to getting it. That this is stuff you've done in the past, man.
A whole lot of most of it is from 2010 to 2012.
Crazy.
Because by the time I got to 2013, I was working on my albums and my projects and stuff. So I really wasn't making beats like that and stuff like that. So really, it's mostly 2010 to 2012.
That's crazy.
Mostly.
Now, when was the Boom Documented era? What years was that?
That was 2012.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all the February 2012 through I think it was like August 2000. Yeah, February through August.
So you almost went a year with that.
Almost, man. Yeah.
What happened with that you said I'm done?
It was exhausting.
Okay.
It was it was just me and my fiance. It was just me and Janie doing all the filming.
Okay.
And then us doing all of the editing.
That's crazy. Shout out to Janie.
Shout out to Janie.
Yeah.
Baby. But it's just like, that's what it was. It's just like, we're making 30-minute long episodes reality show based stuff.
Basically,
Like
yeah.
we weren't playing. I mean, she's a graphic designer as well, so she made the Boone Documented logo.
That's
I'm
what's
sitting
up.
here, I made the theme song, and
That's what's up.
filming that, and we're interviewing everyone. We made one booth, the confessional booth, so we're sitting there having to write out the questions to ask each person.
Wow.
We're document, like, all of this was done with 2 people.
Wow.
And so it was fun, but
Right.
after a while it was like, yo, this is consuming our life.
Yeah.
Like, and it made time go by way too fast.
Wow.
Like, before we knew it, half the year was over, and it was like, yo, okay, nope. It was
Time to
just
move
like,
on, huh?
it was fun to do, but you ain't getting paid for
Right.
any of this stuff. We just doing it for
Right.
free, just to
Right.
put it. It was a lot. So yeah, man, that's pretty much why I came to a halt.
Yeah, I see why you definitely did say goodbye to it, man. But
Lyrical miracle. That's what I call it. Lyrical miracle.
Lyrical rappers.
Miracle rapping. No, because during the time I was.